Morning, everybody. We have a minute or so before we start, so you can gather your props. And I'm going to go back to the usual, or not the usual, but some familiar territory on Wednesdays with the long strap work. So the first thing is, if you could grab a long strap, loop or create one. If you don't have the long strap, it's a great idea to just get one, or you can steal someone in your family as a boating person that's got a tie-down strap. I actually prefer these because I can quick release a little metal buckle and adjust the diameter of the strap really quickly. And the yoga straps, the standard ones, sometimes slip anyway. So we're going to be using our long straps in such a configuration that's very familiar to most of you that been coming to class, where you just take the loop around the mid-back and you could have one leg carried in the strap like that. And since we were talking about structural integrity this week, this is a great reprise or a way to just create a form that the muscles and the bones are working at somewhat counter purposes, but not to an extreme end, but merely to an end to create a shape which is useful to the body. It's going to strengthen the leg, the extension of the leg. It's going to stretch the hamstring, which gets tight. It's going to shape the upper body and the thoracic, so I don't have to do any extreme work there. And if I were to sit in this pose for a while and then come out of it, the result would be a very pleasing stretch to one of my legs and a way that I could sit, stand, or walk with the upper body, which would shape it a bit. So that's the first thing. If you're just jumping in, is we're going to be using our long straps, typical on a Wednesday. If you don't have a strap, you could get creative and have a few towels, rope together sheets. That's a great idea to get one, ultimately. So that sort of configuration, and since there are a couple of newcomers, I'll just show you the upper body, the way we use the strap. We take the hands around the ends of the outside of the strap, hands come up through the center hole, and then the thumb stuck under, and then you've got this structure for the upper body. Again, I discovered this while playing around in my own practice years ago, and I use it quite a bit as a way to find a shape and find some actions which shape the body, which work the muscles against the bones. So there's an out pressure, there's an up pressure. There's all sorts of forces at work that I don't have to think about too much if I just use the integrity or the integration of the strap into my body. So that's the first thing. And then, as usual, have a towel roll. And if possible, the wall or some sort of wall surface at the back of the mat. So let's get started and sit for a bit with or without support in Sukhasana and closing the eyes. And in yoga, we have this Ayurvedic theory, or this like an old medical theory of considering the body in different energetic states. So as you close your eyes and tune into your breath, just start to check in and feel whether your body is feeling heavy, heaviness to the body, sleepiness, lethargic, which might be typical in the morning for most people. Is it a little bit jumpy or ethereal, a little bit spacey, like you're going to float away? Or are you somewhere in the middle, a nice happy ground And these are known as the energetic states in yoga, or the gunas, which are considered like three interwoven threads. And they're always in migration, or they're always in translation, where you might feel heavy one part of the day and then lighter, and then you find a happy mix. In yoga, we're trying to balance and bring back to the center our energetic states. So if we're a little racy and a little bit neurotic, so to speak, energetically, we're going to try to calm down, give more earthiness. So it's good to know where your starting point is, and then you can work from there. I'll be talking a little bit about these states of energy and how to work with them as we move through the postures. But essentially, most formats will start from the ground up. So that's what we'll do. And before we lay down, we'll do just some preliminary oming, and you can hum if you like, to try and rid the body of anything it carried forward from last night or the day before. Let's bring your palms to your heart. Inhaling. Releasing the hands and opening the eyes. So even if you're not a big omer, it's a way of cleansing the palate. So now as we go into our first pose with our long straps, you're not taking unnecessary tension into the pose in the upper body. So as you work through practice today, keep that in mind. And on the exhales, try to release the palate and the tongue from any tension. So first we'll lay down and just kick our strap, or our foot, right leg into our strap, and you can adjust so that it's not too much stretch on the hamstring. And the strap is around the lower shoulder blade tips. And we'll just start to explore how we would fill out this form. So we could just be, like last week, we're doing a lot of yin yoga or passive yoga, but this week we're trying to fill into the structure of the body and the prop. So gently extend that right leg into the strap, feeling the work from the hip, muscles around the hip, the knee capsule, the ankle, even the toes. And you can pull the toes a little bit apart and back toward you to feel the calf. And just start to check in and explore the cave of this pose, so to speak. The arms laid out and relaxed, but extending with the extension of the breath. So take fuller breaths, about 5 more, inhaling through the spaces in the rib cage, and especially around where the strap is capturing the back ribs. Fill those side ribs, those back ribs out. And inhale and exhale, just, you can even open the mouth and give a big, almost sigh, or just, and releasing any tension that's unnecessary to this, the creation of this shape. Let's let the leg go a little bit out to the right. And we can lean into the left side of the strap as the leg goes to the right. And breathe into that area of the side ribs. But feel also the opening of the inner right leg. Having a strap integrating the form is useful in that you're not getting too caught up in one specific area. Inhale the center and then let the leg go over to the left. And feel the pressure, the light pressure of the strap into the right ribs. Breathe them open a little bit. Breathe some awareness there. Straight through to the right arm. Feeling a little bit of stretch, but not an excessive amount in the outside of the right leg. And we're multitasking here. Switch legs because we're doing some pranayama work, trying to expand our breath into this extending left leg now. And if it's too much under your low back to have the right leg projected forward along the floor, you can bend the right knee as well. But fill the whole body now. So imagine that image I gave you on Monday, you were here, of a sailboat filling with wind. That wind is your breath. So I don't want to get too caught up in my leg and enamored with it or impatient with it. But it's one piece of this whole expanding canvas, if you will, of the body, that the bones and the strap and the muscles supporting the bones are opening up. And let the leg travel out to the left as you exhale. And lean over to the right in countermeasure, in counterbalance. Inhale to center and let the leg go a little bit to the right and lean left. Certainly taking note of any stiff places, injured places, and if it's too much, back off. And then coming back to center. And then we're going to take the arms and loop them around the outsides of the strap, and then come up through the rabbit hole, the inside of the strap, and then just hook our thumbs under the strap. And now let's take the strap into the arms. And you can shimmy it up the back a little more so it's under the shoulder blades. Now I've got the strap in the upper body, and we'll bend one knee and the other so that the feet are now under the knees. And just start to reach back to the floor beyond you. Make sure you have enough space. And start to stretch the arms like a big yawn. So if you've configured your strap in good geometry, there's a little tension around the mid-back. Strap is coming up through the inner arms. And then you hoist up the sails of the upper thoracic. And again, don't tighten your jaw or your neck, but just create a mild stretch here. If you want, you can straighten one leg and the other. And pull the toes back toward you. And just feel those ribs open, 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 and lengthen for about 5 breaths. It's also a little bit of outward movement, shoulder blades apart, as well as the lengthening. So let's bend the knees once again, and let's bring the strap up once again. And then let's pull the knees toward us and hover the shins. So a little bit of core work, a little bit of strength work here, and like a dead bug, our hands are up, our knees and shins are up. Inhale, we're going to glide the strap a few inches away from us, and the knees and shins a few inches away from us, and then exhale, we'll bring the strap back. So what is this but merely an upside down expression of cat and cow? And you can look back in the direction of the strap, coming halfway overhead to inhale and then forward. You want to trace the line of the strap with the eyes. You can do that. This is still fairly mild, but we're just toning our core. And then stop, take an inhale, and exhale, take the hands over to the right, the arms, and the knees to the left. Inhale to center, and then tracking the other way. Arms with strap to left, knees to right. And just start to move here mildly in twisting pattern. So all of this work, if we were just to consider it in a gym fashion, is core work. in a yoga fashion, we're starting to churn in the abdominal cavity and awaken the muscles there to create a little, what's called tapas or heat. And just take about 5 or 6 more of these rotations. Come back to center, drop the feet down, and reach the arms back. Stretch one leg long, stretch the other leg long like a big yawn again. Hold the toes back toward you to stretch the calves, maybe taking the heels all the way off the ground. Now we'll do a little bit of core with our cross-lateral muscles or obliques. And we'll reach the strap back, overhead inhale, letting the chest come up, up, up toward the drops or neutral chin. Stick them up arms. Exhale, pull the right knee toward you and bring the strap up to tap it. Inhale, back to an extension of arms and legs. Exhale, the left knee comes up and the strap comes up. So just start to go for a walk, so to speak. And this is trying to keep the body long and extended on the inhale. And then on the exhale, finding that minimum connection of your core from the belly button to the tailbone. And then if you want extra credit, you can lift the head, keeping the chin tucked. If you have any neck issues, keep the head down. And of course, extra credit, advanced folks can come up and do a little rotation to the outside of the leg, and then come down. Really good. And then let's lay our arms back behind us, pull our feet in, push the strap up, 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 inhale, and then lift the hips up, bridge pose with strap, arms. And you don't have to go very high. Think of drawing the heels back toward you, tracting the backs of the legs, the hamstrings up to the glutes. And then release down. Just take the strap over your head and you can kind of roll off to the side and get it out, waggling your body so you can have your strap free of your body now. And you can take it aside for the moment. We'll use it in a bit. And just pull your knees into your body and give them a squeeze. And we'll hold the backs of the knees. Inhale, pull the legs and the knees back toward you. And exhale, rock and roll up to Navasana. Keeping the chin tucked. We'll just working the fascia on the back. And then we'll hover here. So try the Navasana without the strap at first and engaging your core muscles as you look down toward your belly. Then start to lift the mid-back away from the knees. Maybe straightening the legs. As if the strap were still there. And maybe the strap, second strap is around the arms, launching them up. So you can try, if you want, with the strap, just for kicks, just where we had it at the beginning of class, this time around both feet, and mid-back and lean back, and just have a nice little structure. And so particularly for beginners, this is helpful because without a yoga teacher to, say, place their hand on your low shoulder blade area and tell you to lift your chest, you may not get there. And then let's set the feet down and let's collect the strap in our arms in the manner that we did moments ago, threading the arm around and inside and then the other arm around and inside. And then let's stand up. So we're going to hoist up our sails of our arms in Tadasana now and tone our legs as if we're still on the ground like we were moments ago, engaging the backs of the legs, so driving the heels down and just toning the fascia on the back, looking up like a big yawn. And then let's drop the strap down to the floor. So we're holding it in front of the body with the hands. Just stand on the strap right in front of the heels and bend your knees and get a low grip on the strap and then pull your body into Tadasana. So a little repeat of yesterday, pushing down with the bones of the legs and then lifting up with the chest. So we've got the best of both worlds. And then stepping forward through the strap, pulling it up your back, and find that upper body carriage once again. So again, if this is new to you, it's a wonderful thing, but may get confused the first few times. You just come around the outside and then catch it between the thumb and the index finger. You come around and up, catch it. Okay? So let's come to Utkatasana, chair pose. And what is this but the same thing we did on our backs? So drop your tailbone, and imagine it's against the floor here. And lift the arms, sink the hips. So we're starting to create heat in the work of the core, but also lift and prana in the chest. Let's take one more inhale. And then exhale, forward fold. You can bend your knees. And if you can get your fingertips to the ground, great. If you can't, you can come up to the shins. But then lift a flat back and press the back into the strap. Keep the chin tucked. And you feel that resistance, which is going to open up your mid-back. So let's step the left foot back and bring our strap up to warrior one. And then sink the hips down, pressing back through the back heel and lifting. So as you create this shape and this geometry using your strap, I want you to fill all the spaces in the body you can identify. One more inhale, and then you're going to bring the strap forward, like you're going to touch your front knee, or near thereabouts, and then just step the back foot to the front. Knees are together in chair pose. Inhale, lift the strap. And exhale, standing. Let's drop the strap down the back and stand on it with the heels, just in front of the heels. Grab the side of the strap, pull up and find our connection or connecting pieces in Tadasana. Open collarbones, lifting chest, dropping tailbone. And just reset. Step forward off the strap, hike the strap up your mid-back. Take your hands around and through and up in the thumb and index finger crease, lift up, and then sink down in chair. And then breathe. Again, a little bit of lean into the strap. One more inhale, and then we forward fold. And if you can only get your hands to your shins, you stay there. If you can get fingertips to the floor, palms to the floor, you're going to lift up into the strap, keeping the chin tucked. Then you can step your right foot back, bring the strap up to warrior one, and sink the hips down. Press into the back heel, sliding it back, energizing that back leg. And then just find the integrity of the whole pose. If you want to look up, you can. And then as you exhale, bring the strap forward, look toward it, lean toward it, even as you're pressing back against it. Create counter resistance, feet step together, Utkatasana arms, and then standing, take the strap down the back. Step on the strap with the heels, pull with the arms, and then release. So let's move a little bit. Let's take the strap aside and let's feel the body now, having been somewhat opened up. And let's move a little bit in flow in sun salutations, which were designed to create heat in the body. However, we're going to pay some attention to structure that's going to be injurious to the body, particularly in the cobra pose that comes through sun salutation. So let's move a little bit, and we'll come first to Utkatasana as if we had the strap in the arms, and then forward fold. Lift to a flat back, step that left foot back, and come up as if you're pressing the mid-back into an imaginary strap, and then tracking the arms up. So just breathe here, and those of you that study with me know that you're welcome to just throw the arms down like we did last week. Then you want to find that structural integrity that's spread evenly through the back leg, through the mid-back, through the arms. Your jaw, your tongue, and your eyes aren't popping out of your head. Now we're going to come down to plank pose and shoot the legs together and drop the knees pretty quickly for the sake of shoulders that are under tension or under injury. And then we're going to start to glide the chest through and lift only halfway to cobra pose, keeping the eyes down and using the muscles of the back like a potato chip to curl mildly up, using the backs of the legs, and then pressing back to child's pose. Dropping the head, extending the arms, spreading the shoulder blades apart, creating the structure that the strap provided earlier in class. Then we'll come up to hands and knees and curl the toes under. Take a lifting inhale, and then let the belly rise. And as we did or thought about on Monday, create that imaginary triangular space under the body, just lifting the belly up and allowing the arms to extend forward and the heels to extend back. And bend the knees, look forward. You can just step, or if you're sprightly this morning, jump. Feet to hands, lift a flat back and fold. Then the knees coming through chair pose. Remembering or feeling that sensation, memory on the strap, and then standing. Let's try the other side. Arms by the sides. Again, as if you had the strap on the heels, driving the heels down, lifting the chest up. It doesn't have to be aggressive. It's just a sense of integrity of muscles and bones hugging together and working as a unit. And then let's take chair pose with Utkatasana, inhale. Keeping the volume of the chest, and then folding, exhale. Flat back, and then stepping the right foot back, heel in, keeping the front knee bent, and up you go. So you really have to use your breath here, otherwise the shape alone won't yield any magic, won't yield any yoga. So now I breathe into this form as if my body were a giant balloon. So now we're thinking more in terms of the element of air. And again, if it helps to just shake the arms loose and then refine the tensegrity or the integrity through balancing of muscle and bone. You can look up if you want for the final breath. Then coming to plank pose, planting the hands, feet together, belly lifting, and dropping the knees. Glide through with the chest onto your belly, and then like an inchworm, start to lift the shoulders just a bit, toning the glutes, pushing the feet apart a little bit energetically, maybe coming up a little higher, but not using the arms excessively. And now using the arms to press back to child's pose. Let's come up halfway and walk the hands over to the left on parallel tracks and drop the hips and the head down. Now breathe into this form, which we've done many times. Extending the right arm and the right rib cage a little bit more. And then inhale through center, walk the hands to the left on the diagonal. Again, as if you had the strap around the arms. Drop the head, drop the hips, and breathe. So don't overdo or over-sensate the connection of the muscle and the bone. Let the intelligence and the expression of breath through the body be evenly distributed. And then coming back to center, hands and knees, toes curl under, looking forward. And then as if a wave came up under your belly, hold your hips up. Spread the fingers, launch the arms, head is dropped, and bring the heels toward the ground as the chest moves away. And the knees look forward, step or jump, flat back, and fold. Bending your knees, chair pose, bring your arms up and stand. So let's take our straps again as we move into lateral work, and we'll take it behind the back. We're going to open it enough. If you don't have a loop by some chance, you could just hold the strap in your hands, but it's useful with a loop. We did this a little bit the other day where I had you come up and over like that. But now we're going to go a little bit wider. So now I'm working in the thoracic cavity with my thumbs hooked in the strap. And I can take my feet apart and I can just start to gently bend one knee and the other and start to just move the shoulders. So you should be able to feel the ribs moving, the mid-back moving. And again, if you'd rather just hold the strap in your hands like that, it's fine. So we're creating an extra tendon, so to speak, in the arms, or an extra guy wire as we turn the right toes forward and have the left heel back. And now let's start to come into our warrior two and let the shoulder blades drop down the back, the chest lift, and drop the tailbone, drop the head a little bit, just hang out. Again, it's really easy to get aggressive and be overstretching or over muscularizing, but just breathe into this. Inhale, straighten, and exhale, turn the feet to parallel, switch sides, we'll just pivot the feet, left toes forward, and the right heel back, and then sink it to warrior two here. Steady breath. Inhale, come to parallel feet, and let the strap come down the back now. Relax. You can entwine the strap or take it a little bit closer between the hands. I'll show you the spacing, about shoulder width or slightly wider as we start to take a forward fold and prostrate a C. So we start to drop the forward fold ahead and let the arms come over. Pretty relaxed at first in the arms and letting the heels kick out. And be careful if you're wobbly, that you're not going to spill over. And then we progressively, keeping softness in the shoulder and the elbow joints, allow the strap to come overhead. Come out, you pull against the strap, bend our knees, and use the tension provided by the strap to lift up. So let's turn our right toes forward and square off in Prasarita, going from Prasarita to forward fold over the right leg. Parsvottanasana. So you can use the strap here in the same way, the hands as you start to just lean forward. And even if you're a beginner and you just bend the front knee and consider yourself to be like the figurehead on a ship, the attenuation in the back and the shoulder blade tips should feel pleasant. However, advanced students can go ahead and come over, let the arms come over that. Come out, pull against the strap, and now let's spiral to the back. So going from Prasarita, parallel feet, to Parsvottanasana. If you need a tighter stance, absolutely. Again, we create this, I would call it the bowsprit, the figurehead structure. Gentle retraction of the shoulder blade tips, opening of the chest, pulling against the strap, and then maybe you just come forward halfway. Maybe you go all the way down. Try not to grind into your shoulder and elbow joints. Spread your feet apart, increasing the volume of the triangular space between the feet. And breathe. Come out, pull against the strap, inhale, come up, and then release. Let's take the strap aside for the moment. Again, standing, just feel what we've created in terms of synergy or integrity in the body. And it's important not to overwork, so let's just do a little pat down swinging with the hands bouncing off the front shoulder and across the collarbones, as we did last week in our yin flow. And just to connect to the fascia, now we go to mid-ribs in a less specific way. And take the arms and gently strike from the wrist up to the elbow, bicep, tricep, inner arm. Essentially just patting yourself down into each leg. So if you've created unnecessary or excessive tension through that strength work in the strap, you just want to kind of comb through and smooth out the bed sheet of the fascia, the overall body. We'll take the arms up, inhale, and then let them swing. Inhale, reaching up, and a little more fluid connection to the body. And then forward folding for 5 to 10 breaths with the arms straight. And here I want you to think more of the element of water. And then kicking the toes out and sitting down to Malasana. And bring the palms together once the low back is established. So the next territory, now that we've warmed up, so to speak, is to try and move in vinyasa form or flowing form, thinking about different elements in the body. This again is classic in yoga. So we've got earth, fire, air, water, ether in the yoga system. And then if you follow Chinese medicine, you have the element of metal instead of the ether element. Let's take a forward fold here. And so if we think about even moving in 2 poses, these 2, forward fold, I want you to think more of a watery body, soften the joints, the feet, spine unfold, and then kicking your toes up, sinking to Malasana, and thinking of earth. And this may be a little bit of a child's game for you. Like, what does earth feel like? You want to feel your connection to the ground, your low back is dropping, and everything is with a downward energy, feeling the integrity of down drop or rootedness. And as we pull the belly up, the forward fold, thinking warm water, we can shift from one foot to the other and let the body be more watery. We'll feel its fluid capacity. And then come up with a rounded spine. And just to give you the quick and dirty element preview as we grab the right wrist with the left hand, inhale, lengthen. Now we're coming into a sense of the air element in the chest and start to lean over to the left. And we're bringing a sense of fullness in the body, integrity of the body, as if it were, again, filled with helium or air. As we stretch the side body, the ribs, it's appropriate. And notice how we're moving up the body from the tailbone and the low back and the molossin, a little bit higher when we take forward fold, water element, air element, and then release. We'll do a little bit of fire and ether element now as we flow and start to come into back bends for the second half of class. Now that we've prepped the body in those elements that are a little more grounded or structural. So hopefully you're feeling, okay, I got a little bit of work now, a little bit of integrity, and now I can let the energy come up into the upper body safely and start to move toward back bending. So let's take Utkatasana again. Inhale. Exhale, fold. Let's step the right foot back into warrior one. And let's open to warrior two. Let's reverse our warrior here. And then take side angle. Let's plug into the earthiness of the legs, separating the feet. Let's even take the right hand to the belly and feel the wateriness of the midsection of the belly, as if we could shoot hydraulically water up through the upper arm from the belly. And reaching up, inhale. Now think of air element as the arms come up, as if they had the strap. And keeping that earth element in the legs has come into Trikonasana. Ground wire is the right hand on the shin or ground. So situate the legs, dropping the tailbone, and then bring the watery hydraulic nature into the pose, as if you could shoot fluid through the legs, through the top of the head. And then what about the air element? We worked on this the other day. We're going to open the lungs, open the ribs, breathe up into the upper ribs, fill the sails. And let's take that down to the ground, plank pose, and drop our knees down and just swim up to easy cobra now. So we'll take the forearms in front of us and preview back bending from an energetic perspective. So this is the safe way to do it. We're looking down, parallel our upper arm bones, our lower arm bones. We're sliding our toes back in a primary pattern of inhaling. As you exhale, just pull the toes back toward you a little bit. You can see my heels lifting. And that way I'll tilt my hips down to the earth. Keep the earth element even in this fire element pose. Let's take the forearms together and clamshell them under the chest and reach back with the left hand, grab that left foot. Still, look down as you exhale once you've grabbed the foot and just press the right forearm down. Make connection to the back foot, letting it resist the pull of the arm. And switch sides. Left forearm down, right hand back. Grab the foot. Look down. Push the left forearm forward to lift the chest, not even lifting the head at first. And then push the right foot back into the right hand. And then let's release down to the ground. And we'll take our hands wide off the mat and place our forehead down. Bring your legs together. And as you exhale, roll your shoulders forward as if you're doing the reverse roll of cobra. As you inhale, start to come up the chest, start to roll the shoulders back. Maybe the head lifts a little, and then roll down. Shoulders point forward, forehead drops, even maybe the wrists. You can see what I'm doing with my hands, stretching the finger fascia. And then coming up, feeling and expressing the shape like a potato chip curl of the back body, and just start to do your cobra push-ups. Not using the arms a lot, which is why I've taken them wide, and maybe even onto fingertips. One more. Maybe using the arms just a little more, and then pressing back to child's pose to reset our element of earth in the lower body. Come forward to hands and knees. Tuck your toes under, and then downward dog. A nice combination pose of earth energy in the lower body, and then the wateriness of the mid body, sending and lengthening the mid back. The lungs filling, the chest, breathing open the air element. And then bend the knees, look forward. Step or jump to a flat back and fold. Come up through chair pose, inhale. And standing, exhale. Let's try that on the other side. Inhale through chair. Exhale, fold. Left foot back, warrior one. Finding the sails of the pose in the upper body, the lightness, and then the earthiness of the lower body. Opening to warrior two. Reverse warrior, dropping right hand down, and come into side angle. So again, sink down into the legs, earth element, the tailbone, mula bandha, groundedness. I like to do the Pledge of Allegiance to my belly. And then I imagine sending water, like an aquifer in the body, through the limbs, through the joint cavities. That sense of fluid extension. And then I add the extension of the air element in the upper chest, the throat. Inhale, come up, bring the arms up, really reach up, spread the fingers. Come into triangle pose. Left hand to shin, right hand go to hip. Again, groundedness, you can go through your checklist. Watery extension, so you're not rigid in the bones. They're not metallic, so to speak. And then the air element. How can you lighten under the bottom ribs and let the arm float up? And then we take that to the ground, both hands down, plank pose, drop our knees and swim through to easy cobra again. Coming up in your forearms, lifting the chest by pushing the elbows down, spreading the fingers. Let's clamshell the forearms once again. Make sure the feet are not too wide apart. You can give yourself a belly rub, your frontal hip rub, side to side, and then let's see if you can get that back foot again. And you can start to draw it a little bit toward you, But if you do, push the knee away. So we're just stretching that quad a little bit. But as we do, we want to keep the air element in this. So the earth element, and the way that most people used to do this pose, is just to grind the joint, grind the foot down to the outer hip. That's going to be imbalanced, in my opinion. So I find balance of, okay, I've got muscle and bone connection, then I breathe water and air into it. The water element I'm using in my mind's eye is a way to extend out of joint compression. Well, we all know we need to drink fluids, but then I bring the air element into this and lift the chest. Now, I take the right forearm forward, let the left foot go away from me, and start to press forward with the front arm lifting the elbow, and now I bring more of the air element into this. And having done so, I'm beginning to flirt with fire. Things are starting to get a little bit heated in the back bends. Come down, clamshell the forearms, try the other side. Hook up with the right foot. Again, knees not too far apart. I can start to play with a quad stretch, but if I focus primarily on the physical body, stretching the quad, I'm losing the structural integration. It's really the prize and the sensation of wholeness in the body. So, okay, I've got a quad, great, but it's connected to other things. So now if I focus on my belly area, as if that's where the well of water is stored, and I start to let that water spread through the back leg. And then I take the left forearm forward, start to bring that left elbow off the ground, push the right foot into the hand. I bring in the breath in the upper chest, fill the ribs, And then advanced students, you come down, you can now take both feet in both hands for Dhanurasana. The first pose is classically done as Bekasana, where you pull the feet, don't even lift the head, you just pull the heels toward the outer hips. Again, you feel connection, earth, that's great, that's base camp. Then as we let the feet move away, you feel the belly as the shoulders lift, and let that belly water energy spread out, lifting a little higher. And then how do I get higher? I gotta fill the sails of the chest. And make sure you keep breathing. And then release. And you can press back to child's pose. Reset the low back. And then coming forward to hands and knees, we'll come to downward dog. And in downward dog now, let's start to take a watery down dog. So once you found your earthbound, structural downward dog, bend your knees and just start to shimmy your hips to the left. Spill left, stretching the right side ribs, and then let the hips spill to the right, stretching the left. So every pose can be turned into or considered from a element, 5-element standpoint. And then if you want to, advanced students, as your hips go right, let your shoulders come forward, and you can take a little side plank modification, bring the air element into the body, feeling the extension of the ribs to help you manage this pose from a structural integrity perspective. And then the hips go left, so I feel that watery, earthy element. Now I bring the chest forward, and I fill the sails of the rib cage. I open, into the air element. So I keep things light. And I play with that element. You can do it a few times. And so you don't want to feel like you're grinding. You can take the modification here with the lower knee drop if you need to. But if you set up your elements, it's more expansive. Okay, let's drop down for a moment into our shins and try just a mild back bend heading toward Ustrasana. Should be starting to feel a little heated up, maybe. If so, that's successful use of tapas, or letting energy come up from the lower body up into the chest. And then you have the distribution of the energy through the body, the recirculation. Most people, if they heat up, they're working out, running, biking, whatever, and they're just entering the fire state, or the fire element, which feels really good at first, and then you get exhausted. So you're in jeopardy, if you're always in fire state or air state, of getting really wound and overheating your nervous system. So keep that in mind, depending on your own makeup. Let's try a camel pose, though. Take the hands to low back. As you start to understand the elements in the body, you understand why we would take the hands to the back. So we're down in the earth element, the kidneys, and we're stroking the kidneys down into the earth so that we feel grounded. If we're a beginner, we stay right here, and we think of downward energy in the hips, in the kidneys. We're not going to squish them. From the kidney area, we think about the water element, and we start to let the belly lift and stretch and start to flow through the hip joints down through the knee. And so the things are feeling open. And then if we want to take it one stage further, step further, we start to open higher into the prana basket, the chest. You could even take the arms to goalpost and clasp the hands behind the head. Keep the earthiness in the bones, the lower body, the kidneys, the low back. We lift up, dispersing water element. And then we bring the breath, a little more prana work to spread the ribs. Ah, open the mouth. Ah. And then you come down and settle into the child's pose. And then we'll go from child's to rabbit pose, which is one step further into grounding. So place the forehead down, grab the ankles, and lift the belly and the hips up. In this form, you could think of the water element and the earth element being encouraged to spill forward into the chest, into the head, and the pressure on the forehead, the mild pressure regrounding the upper energy centers, which maybe got a little racy in the Ustrasana. So this is some of the theory behind why you do one pose, then you do the other. And so that energetically, oh boy, I need to put my head down now because I got a little bit ethereal or a little fiery in the back bending. And you have to decide, well, no, that actually felt pretty good for me to back bend. Dan's not watching, I'm going to do another one. Or I need to spend a little more time down in that rabbit pose because I've been watching CNN too much and my head is racing. I need to put it down. So here's where you have to use your own intelligence. Those doing another Ustrasana, you can take your hands to your heels. And we did this a few weeks ago, back bending. And I start with the grounded energy of the folded form of Balasana, looking down. I respect the earth, or I bring my attention down to the earthiness of the pose. And then, like we were doing the cobra push-ups, the head and the shoulders are going to rotate the last possible moment. So I come up in the earth element, the water element starts to feed through, and then the air, ah. The head is last to come up. It's good. So let's move on to half pigeon and then we'll close. Come to our downward dog, lift our right leg high, and spiral open the right hip over the left. And of course, this is where the people that show off in yoga class take this into air element and fire element by flipping their dog over. Let that right leg come over, we've got another back leg. So again, you're kind of playing when you do yoga. And if we come into half pigeon and drop down, especially if you've done a fire and air element expression, like flipping over the dog, or the Ustrasana, now we reground into the earth, like an animal going back into its burrow. So you start to make sense of the energetics of yoga. And based on how you're feeling, you work with it and you respect it. And stay there to your liking. We switch to the other side. And the left leg comes up, the knee bends. If everything has been established, chest is open into a mild back bend or extension. And if your body supports it, you can flip it over. And then you come up through the elements: earth, water, air, fire, ether. Come into half pigeon. So that obviously is an advanced or an intermediate move, flipping your dog over. Move with discretion, and then reground. And what is this pose but a wonderful way to work with the earth element in the hip, the low back, it's happy, the head is dropped in subservience to the earth. And then we're going to come up and lay down and take our Shavasana. So stretching the legs long, one at a time, the arms out to the sides. Here's where if you want to take an inversion, you're welcome to it. But that's all I had in mind today. What I'd like to do in Shavasana occasionally, and it fits with our agenda this morning, is take your palms to your low belly, just place them there. Again, thinking of the earthiness of the lower belly. Checking in, releasing, dissolving any extra tension, coming up to the mid belly. Thinking of the water element. And just above them, or almost in the same area, it's an arguable point among yoga teachers, slightly higher the adrenal system, the upper kidneys, the fire element, and softening the adrenal system, which you may feel as a cord of the vagus nerve coming from the solar plexus up into the tongue, by the way. And hands to the chest, the air element just softening the chest, the throat. And then taking the palms like a washcloth to the face and grounding the ether element in the brain, in the head, so you're not spinning out of control. So let's roll off to one side, bending the knees. Come up to seated and close off practice, just having a sense of how your body feels after that. It's kind of an all-arounder today, so I thought would be good to do. Settling hips, earth, water, fire, air, ether. Everything in balance. And then we'll do a final Om to distribute sound through those places. Inhale. Om. Namaste. I'll unmute if you want to say hi. Otherwise, have a great day. Okay, you should be on. Take care.
Thank you, Dan. Fabulous class.
Good, good. That's Doreen.
Gracias, Dan. Loved it.
Hey, Dan.
Good, good.
That was wonderful, Dan. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. Good to hear.
Thanks, Dan. Hope you get away.
Cheers.
Thank you, Dan. That was terrific.
Oh, good, Danielle. See you.